All right, so we're here in designs. On Monday, we looked at creating a template version of the buyer's consult. And so today we're going to look at customizing this for each individual buyer. This is such a simply easy process. It's very quick. It'll take you no more than, I would say no more than 2 minutes, probably less. It might sound like an exaggeration, but you're going to see right now how simple it is. We're going to click this options button when we find our template. If you're seeing a whole bunch of your social media posts, remember you can come up here to the top and click the type of template that you're looking for. In this case, we're looking for a print template. So we'll click print, we'll find the buyer consult template that we created, and then make a copy. We're going to see the copy shows up, and I think I've just clicked it twice, so we might see it twice. Yes. So if you create one that you don't want, you can always go here and click delete instead. It will very easily disappear. We've got this. I'm going to jump right into the copy of buyer's consult template. Now, the first thing that I want to do is rename this because I don't want to get this confused with my actual template. So I'm going to call it by the name of the person that I'll be creating this for. It's no longer a template because this is actually the consult that we're going to be customizing. You'll see up in the top left when it's saved. If you need to save manually, you can come here, click the file button and save as well. Folks, if you prepared your template properly, there are only 2 pages that you need to customize. The first one is page 1, where you'll need to customize your client's name. I think it is best practice to do this all in caps, 2 separate lines. You can see the formatting is not right, so I've clicked out of the text box. I'm just going to drag it to allow the name to spread out here. Pretty simple. Again, we can always change this photo. If we want to do that, we can do it here. I can look at house types under images, and really whatever type of home I want to click on. I could just click and it's going to replace just like that. If I want to change the position of the image, I can do it there. So that's page 1. Folks, that is all you need to do on page 1. Page 16, as the way that I've got it set up, that's not true, page 15 here, is your neighborhood profiles. It's got 2 side by side. Now you can come in here and make it really complicated and customize this all different sorts of ways. I'm going to show you a very simple way to do it. I'm going to click this box that has all the details there and just simply delete it. So I'll undo that so you can see I just hit the delete button, but up at the top right, you can also hit the remove, or you can right click. Actually, you can't do it. Well, you can cut in this case. We're just going to click remove and it disappears. I'm going to select both of these 2 items here and I'm going to remove those as well as the image placeholders. And I'll show you why. So in this case, I'm going to come down to KWLS, go to snapshots, and I'm going to type in zip codes. So at this stage, we may not have neighborhoods that we've narrowed down to. Now, if you've got a couple neighborhoods you can pin side by side that you know your buyer is interested in, that's awesome. Otherwise, we can just simply type in zip codes. So I've got 75098 zip code here. I'm going to make this a bit smaller. I'm just going to align it with the top of this. And then I'm just going to enlarge this a little bit so it's that size. Now, to keep these uniform, I'm just going to copy and paste this one. I'm going to drag it over here side by side. And the simplest way to do this, guys, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to come up here and find a different zip code. And I'm going to replace it. Very simple. We're going to want to change the description. Let's Try that without caps lock on. Now we've got all the stats side by side. Understand your buyers may end up printing this entire presentation. So if they wish to take notes on the left-hand side at the bottom, you can drop in your own notes here. If you want to talk about the comparison between the two, you're welcome to do whatever you'd like. At a bare minimum, this is all you need to customize that buyer presentation. This piece is now entirely customized to your buyer and it's ready to download. We're going to click the download button here at the top and get PDF. We don't want images here. We want a full PDF. I want all designs, and I would like high resolution print quality. Now, if you plan on emailing these files directly, I would recommend highly to do standard web quality. It's a much smaller file size. If you intend to print it, or if you intend to host it on Google Drive or on your website, and then to just share a link, you can do the high resolution print quality. I think that's the best practice. That's what I like to do, so that's what I'm going to do here. Click high resolution print quality and start the download. At this time, once it downloads, you'll see it's preparing up at the top here. Once the download's ready, it'll pop down in your browser. We can open it. I'll go to view full screen. So you're going to want to do one of two things with this. For your own purposes, you will either want to print this entire presentation so you can take notes on it, as your buyer very well might be doing, or just keep a notepad beside you for the appointment. We're not quite at the appointment yet, so let's talk a little bit about how to get prepped for it. So this is our document here. Now, I'm just going to cover briefly how to do this because we did this in a previous with the listing presentation. But if we go to Google Drive, we can take any document within our drive and if we upload that file to our Google Drive, the PDF, we can then get a shareable link. This shareable link, we're going to click on for link sharing. This shareable link that you see here, you can send that directly to somebody. They can pull up the PDF in their web browser instead of having to download a really large file size. Like I said, these files can be pretty large. This one that I just downloaded is, I'm going to get a file size for you real quick. It's 40 megabytes. A lot of email clients won't send a file that's 40 megabytes large. And so you'll need to provide a link or download the standard web quality. Can we send this link with the invite to our Zoom room? If you've created a vanity URL, you could do something like zoom.texassoldem.com or whatever your custom URL is. Send those together and get it all set. You want to send those ahead of time. Send those a day before, 2 days before. Whenever you set the appointment, now that you've seen you can customize that template very quickly, you can then go and customize it, send it out immediately. I think it's a little bit more impressive that way. That way we have an entire event invitation with the materials and everything there with it. Any questions at this point before we jump into the actual conducting of the buyer's presentation? Okay, we'll continue. I want to thank you guys for being here with me today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so at this point, we'll jump into our Zoom room. We'll have the client face-to-face. When you're ready, you'll share your screen. And then with the PDF on the screen, you're gonna go full screen mode. Like we talked about before, this gives you the ability to flip through individual pages. If you do read mode, it will only let you scroll through the pages and it's not a very clean experience. I would assume that somebody's sitting there with print materials in hand and we want to flip them one page at a time, keep their attention on whatever we're talking about. A lot of this we can skip through. I would not skip through. Again, if you have a virtual closing process, if you have a contactless transaction that your office has created for you, or a method by which you're doing business right now with the coronavirus outbreak, I would highly recommend put this at the very front, take a moment to pause and dismantle their fears a little bit. We don't have to say it's dismantling their fears, but we can give them all the confidence in the world that we have a plan in place to help them get through this entire process and get to closing without ever having to come in contact with another person. Feel free, if you guys have questions, if you're not aware of your virtual closing process, reach out to me, reach out to your team leader. We'd love to get you the resources. There are, across the entire region, there's all sorts of resources and ways for you to take advantage of this. All right. At this point, you probably can skip right past the table of contents. And I would go directly to this. And this is just asking them questions. This is where you could probably take off screen share and again, just get face-to-face and ask them, if this were the very perfect scenario, imagine that in your mind and tell me, what's that look like to you? Practice these questions ahead of time. Get in a flow where you know exactly how you're going to be asking them. When they tell you, so if that perfect dream scenario were reality, what's the one thing that I can do to help make it that? Awesome. So that's happened. What does that mean for you? How does that benefit you? Make it a good conversation. Take as much time in this step as you need before you move on. Once you feel like you've got a good understanding of what their desires are and what's really important to them in the process, then you can move forward. I would stop on this page and tell them about the app. Tell them we've got a brand new app and I'd love for you to experience the home buying process through that app. We've got an entire guide system to go through. And here's the really cool thing. If you have it prepped in a separate screen, you can simply click over and play this video. This is 2 minutes. Guys, stick with me. If you haven't seen this video before, it's pretty awesome. I do want you to experience this. In fact, let me do something real quick with my screen share before I do that. There we go. You guys see this black screen here? Yes. Make sure to pause it when you're done. You can bring it back face to face before you move on if you'd like. But I think that video is pretty powerful. It's very captivating and it shows them a little bit in action. We can talk all day long. That's a really nice marketing piece that we have a chance to put them right face to face. Real quick before we move on, Jen Smith asks, what if they don't have Google Drive? Beautiful question. They don't have to. If you turn on link sharing and you share it with anybody who has the link, when they click on that link, it just opens up the PDF. They don't even have to go into Google Drive for it. They don't even have to have an account. Carly asks, where can I find all the recording training sessions? You can go to the very top of this chat box and go to onething.tech. It's a YouTube channel. You can also go to ntxnmmforum.com and find the training recordings there. Onething.tech, if you subscribe to it, you'll get notifications of the videos as soon as I load them after these. Kelly says you can also save the documents to Dropbox. Absolutely. If you use Dropbox, you can share it out of Dropbox just the same as you'd use Google Drive. All right. So we'll jump back in, folks. So encourage them to download the app. The great thing is while you're talking, you can encourage them, hey, on your cell phone, go right now to the App Store. Better yet, just go to my link. Go to, in my case, you can see it at the bottom of the screen here, app.texashold'em.com. Download my app, create a login, and we'll talk more through it. You'll see in a moment, we're going to get to a part where we actually set up a saved search for them. If they download your app at this moment, you no longer will have to show them an example of what a saved search looks like. You'll be able to do it in real time. This is super quick, folks, and I think it's a great benefit in moving you forward and actually getting them to use your systems. All right, after this, this right here is all about filling out two things. One, your contact card within your database, and two, your opportunity details. By the time you're having a buyer's consult face-to-face with people, you should have already, one, created a contact card within Command, and two, created an opportunity for that contact or that lead in this case. These details, if you don't have this paper printed out, you should just be on your notebook off to your side, jotting it down with a pen. I would not recommend keeping a separate screen open and typing it into the database, because if you have issues with connectivity, I think it can very quickly disconnect you with the person you're talking to on the other end. Take handwritten notes. When you're done with your buyer's consult, go in and update your contact card, update your opportunity details with the information that you get right here. This is vital information that often we skip past. How do they want to be communicated with? Is there another buyer that's going to be a part of it? How quickly do you expect me to be updating you? And when's the best time? Should I, if we think that because it's in our workflow that we should be calling people between 9 and 11 every single day, but maybe that person sleeps in because they work the night shift, or maybe they work the early shift and they're always slammed with work. Well, knowing that up front can set you on much better ground. How do you say this, chat? Thank you, Daniel. 3 dots to the right of the chat box. All right. So take as long as you need, but this is really just information collecting right here. The rest of this right here is something that can be kind of daunting until you understand the benefit of it. This is the emotional portion of the buying process that so many of us got in the business for in the first place. This is the part where when people watch HGTV, if they're not in it for the investing side, they're in it for this part right here. And this is the emotional portion about buying a home. This is your entire wish list. Take some time, talk with them. We've already set the stage in the beginning. What's the one thing that we can do to make this a reality? Now we want to look at what's the perfect dream scenario, right? And then we've got a chance to kind of harness it back in and find out what's realistic for them. But give them some freedom to dream, to tell you their strong preferences, and I think you'll find what are the must-haves, and you'll probably uncover some unique needs as well. These are a lot of really great leading questions that will probably bring out certain things. Maybe there's somebody handicapped in the family and they just forgot to bring that up, but maybe it's really important that they've got wheelchair access to the home. Not all homes have that. Well, we want to know that now so we don't get a couple months down the road and find out when we're trying to make offers. This will take some time. This is probably the bulk of it, talking about their entire process. When we're finished with that, we want to talk about creating really what we've used in the past are boundaries within an MLS search where we just click and drag and draw. this weird shaped, or this weird sided shape. But in this case, we can get a little bit more fine tuned because we've got the ability to search by zip code or by neighborhood or by school district. We can create something that is much more suitable to them, where we don't have to include the $1 million properties in this shape if all they're looking for is something that's 350 and below. It will focus them in very narrowly, help them get to, especially if they're from outside the area. This will help them understand what are the neighborhoods like. Ask those questions. This is the page where we will see, first of all, I was gonna skip past this, but I think this is important to not do at this time. There are a lot of people that want to delay. They want to wait because they think the market's gonna be coming down. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I've had my ears open enough the past few weeks to know that the experts say we're not looking at a massive reduction in home values in the near future. A reduction perhaps, but not a massive reduction. We've never had a massive reduction in home values in North Texas. Even, you know, the 2008 crisis where everything else crashed around the country, it did not reduce by drastic amounts. In fact, the interest rate hike that we expect to see in the next year will almost certainly more than offset the reduction in price value. So if we're, or in the reduction in prices. So if we're talking with our buyers and we're talking motivation and talking about when's the right time, it absolutely is right now, especially if they find the home that they love. There's no reason to delay. This is a chance to talk about your the neighborhoods. And I think that this is a really good time to jump in because the next pieces are the guides as well. This is a really good time to jump into the websites. So I'm going to switch over here. You can have your website all queued up, ready to go. You'll encourage them to log in and to create an account. Remind them that creating an account on this website is the exact same as the account that they're going to use on their app. So if they've logged into the app at this point, because we talked about it at the beginning of the consult, they can just very simply log in here. They don't need to create a new account. In the feed, they'll see any saved searches that are created for them, as long as the website is not bugging. Let's look at our saved searches here. So we've got a saved search, and this is a pretty simple one I set up within Command, and I'll flip over to that side here in a moment, because as they're browsing your website, you can go over into Command and actually create a saved search. They'll see it in real time and they can start exploring. This is set up by zip code, but this can also be set up by neighborhood. And it's done with filters just like you'd use, whether it's Zillow or it's the MLS or anything else. Not as robust a search engine as MLS, but it has some features that are a bit more consumer friendly than the MLS does, namely the neighborhoods feature. And I mention that time and time again because I think that it is so valuable. So we can see these are all homes that show up within their search. If we click on an individual home, this will take them in, and they can save this as a favorite. And they can save it to their general favorites, or they can create a new collection. So if they want to say Bush Elementary homes, and they want to put only their Bush Elementary, the ones that are zoned for Bush Elementary in this collection, and they've got another collection, homes near work, and maybe it's a husband and wife and they're pulling in two different directions. Well, this gives them the ability to create two separate lists from the same interface and to balance back and forth, to weigh the two so they can ultimately make a decision. This can all be within the same saved search. This just gives them collections for after the fact. We can go, if we hit saved, then we can go to our collections and we can see all the homes that we've added to it. As we add more, this will create more. Encourage them that this is a really good time to add a collaborator or a co-buyer. So if you hit your profile name right here, you can click co-buyer and you can add someone. It'll send them an email and invite. All of your collections will then be viewable by this co-buyer. The co-buyer and the consumer or your client that signed up initially can both be in conversation with you. All the information comes back your way. Let me show you real quick how to create a saved search. Then I'll open it up for questions as we close this out. So we're in a contacts card here. Over on the right-hand side, the very last piece, we see save searches. We can see any saved searches that we've created here. And if we refresh, we can create a new saved search. It's not letting us create one, so let's delete this one that we've got. We're going to create a saved search. This is what you'll see if you've never created a saved search before. The title of the search goes here. The email will not be changed because they've already logged in. They've created an account. This is where you'll create the map. So you can do it by zip code. And you might do it by zip code at first to cast a broader net. But then eventually you're going to want to add by neighborhoods. And you can type in as many neighborhoods as you want. You used to have a limit of 10. They've increased the cap since then. This will list out everything. This snaps to the neighborhood boundaries automatically, create your price criteria, all the rest. Make sure to hit the create button at the bottom to save your search. As soon as you hit the create button, it pushes it out to your consumer on the other end. They'll see it from their app. They'll see it from your agent site automatically as they're logged in. If you want to just send them open houses, you can click that open house button and do that instead. All right, I'll stop my share real quick. What questions do you guys have at this point? How else can I help you? Awesome. I would encourage you all to do one of these, hopefully very soon. I know we've all got buyers in the wings. It's a great time to motivate them with the fact that interest rates are still low, and we still have a lot of folks that maybe think that now's not a good time to buy, but I think we're more intentional about our businesses now that we've ever been, and we've got some really great stories to tell. As always, you can go to onething.tech YouTube channel, subscribe to that, and you'll see these training videos as they pop up. I'll have this one up by tomorrow. Thank you all. I'll see you Friday. Have a great day.
Thanks, Seth.